I think I was the first person in my family to go to therapy. And other than church marriage counseling, I think I was the only person in my family to go to therapy. And I think I was definitely the first person to go to therapy. And I was the first person to basically confront the family and say, hey, why did y'all let my mom abuse me like that when y'all knew it was happening? Because I used to run away to your house. I used to run away to your house. I used to come to your house. I used to always want to stay at your house. Why did y'all let my mom abuse me like that? And basically, I was in my 30s by then. I had my own daughter. And I just started calling out stuff from my childhood, and my family could not take it. And the final straw for me was one of my cousins assaulted his first cousin. And it was a whole thing. And everybody brushed it off except for me and the parents who kid it happened to. Come to find out, it had been going on for years. And thank goodness another kid witnessed it and told. But the whole family chose to ignore it. And I couldn't do it. And it was the final straw for me. And other things had happened, but that was the final straw. When it came to how I was going to deal with my extended family, that was the final straw. And then my immediate family, like my mom and my aunts or whatever, that all changed in 2018 as a result of my mom doing what she had always done my whole life, which is abandon me. She was emotionally neglectful, physically abusive, just a horrible mother altogether. Didn't want to be a mother and let me know that constantly. And like I said, even though my family knew, they wouldn't really help me. I had to help myself by staying out the house, by forming new relationships, by learning how to fight, learning how to run, learning how to defend myself, because I didn't really have any allies. And what's interesting is, after my grandmother died, I definitely didn't have any. But what was interesting was that, like I said, being the first person to go to therapy and really trying to bring therapy to my family and watching them reject it was all very, very interesting, because it was like foreshadowing, right, of how healing works. Healing works such that you are in it alone. You got to do it for you. Nobody is coming to save you, help you, protect you. You may have some support system if you get really good insurance at somebody's job, or you make so much out of pocket that you can afford it, or you happen to luck up on some accessible and affordable coaching like Radical Change Leadership. Okay. But for those people who never, get there, right? You continue to remain in a bad spot, in a harmful spot, until you get that knowledge, love, and trust of self, till you get that confidence, till you get that focus on your own well-being, your own healing, your own happiness, and take control over that. Other stuff is going to be ruling you. Other stuff is going to be telling you what to do. And other stuff is going to be keeping you from getting in between you and you. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. hello, and welcome. Me playing my own theme music until my daughter writes me a song. Welcome to Radical Change Leadership, y'all. My name is Vonda Page, and I am your host. Radical Change Leadership is the podcast where we deep dive into leadership from within, leadership to empowerment. It's really, y'all, where we going to move from leader to legend, because that is what it's all about. Leadership is you who make decisions for yourself or other people and deciding to lead from within, so that the way that you show up in society, the way you show up for your family, the way you show up for your spouse, the way you show up for your kids, the way that you show up for you is congruent with what you want to do and how you want to be and who you want to be. So hello, and welcome. And today we are going to get into what I like to call the healing parent. We're going to get into what I like to call the healing parent. And the question is why healing is the foundation of radical change leadership. So what if I told you that the most powerful thing that you can do as a parent, as a leader, or just as a person in society is to heal yourself first? The most powerful thing you could do. Well, I believe that leadership begins from within, and that self-leadership can only flourish once your personal, individualized healing is prioritized. So when I say healing is integral to personal growth and self-empowerment, what I mean is touching that stuff that you don't really want to talk about. I'm talking about that thing that makes you smoke cigarettes, that thing that makes you go to happy hour every day after work, that thing that has you playing video games 7 hours every night, that thing that has you buried deep into the food channel, the thing that has you scrolling on TikTok, the thing that has you, obsessing over makeup and hair, the thing that has you ignoring your kids. Are you in the gym for 4 hours a night and you spending, 3 hours of that time scrolling Instagram, looking at people working out? What are you doing and how are you showing up? How are you leading yourself and how are you prioritizing yourself? Are you ignoring all those things that happened to yourself as a kid and distracting yourself with pain, numbing, mind numbing activities? If you go to the gym once a day for an hour, fantastic for you. If you spend 1 hour on social media, fantastic. If you spend an hour cooking, great. An hour cleaning up, great. An hour meditating, great. 8 hours sleeping, 8 hours working, 2 hours commuting. Okay, you doing the best you can. And I'm going to say you even doing really good. But if you spending 4 or 5 hours a night on YouTube, on TikTok, reading a book, are you doing your laundry? Are you taking a shower? Are you flossing your teeth after every meal and brushing your teeth at least twice a day? Are you drinking water? Are you stretching? Are you walking? Are you getting exercise? Are you cleaning out your toilets, your sinks? Are you washing your dishes? Are you cooking home-cooked meals? What are the things that you are doing to demonstrate that you love and care about yourself? Are you eating out every day? Are you buying fast food every day? Are you eating food out of boxes and bags? Are you eating in the car? Are you eating in front of the phone? Are you eating in front of the computer, the laptop, the desktop, the television, the big screen? Are you eating while you're playing your video games? Do you have crumbs all over your laptop and spilt coffee and spilt tea? When I went to Asia, one of the things that I enjoyed doing more than I ever enjoyed ever anywhere else was having a coffee, having a tea, having a fruit juice, having a smoothie, just having breakfast, having a meal without the technology, without the distraction, just sitting. And the one meal that my former colleague ruined for me, because she wouldn't get off the phone. I kept saying, look, I gotta go. Oh, well, let me just say this. And then it was nothing but some bullshit. Well, let me just say this. I gotta go. Talked on the phone with me through my entire Michelin star meal. I got back to the hotel. I threw the whole meal up because I couldn't digest my food properly because of that phone call. I didn't prioritize myself. It was my fault. I didn't set up the boundary with that person. And so they exploited it. Okay. What did I learn from that situation? I learned that because I had a lot of women in my life, or the main woman in my life, my mother, and some of my other women in my life, exploit my vulnerabilities or exploit my weakness or exploit my naivete or whatever. Easy for me to want to have a close woman friend because I didn't have the mom that I wanted. And the aunt that I thought was the mom that I wanted couldn't even be the aunt that I wanted because she couldn't even be out of her addiction enough to even help me out in any kind of emotional way. You know, it is funny. People who are alcoholics, they are emotionally absent and neglectful. And it makes sense when you can look at things in retrospect, right? When you can look at things in hindsight and you could put things together. But in the moment, man, you can't really see it. In the moment, I didn't realize that my entire family on my mom's side was addicted. My mom, her 4 sisters, and both my grandparents. It just looked different on everybody. On my mom, it looked like candy and prescription drugs. On my other aunt, it looked like, home cooking and shopping. On my other aunt, it looked like prescription drugs and alcohol. My other aunt, it just looked like straight alcohol, right? And on my grandparents, it just was alcohol. And realize that calling out behaviors as this is not normal, and being the only voice screaming in the wilderness. When you're doing it, it makes you feel like you're crazy. But once you can step outside, and when you really get into the healing space, you realize that you're not crazy. I started my healing journey super early. I was less than 10 years old because I knew that my mom being the way she was, my mom was very cruel. Trigger warning, child abuse. She was a child abuser. And she exposed me to a child abuser who was also a child predator, who also had child predators in his family. And she exposed me to those people. And it's just unfortunate that level of trauma exists in so many families. And so what has to happen is, before you decide to become a parent, you have to heal from the trauma that your parent gave you. You have to heal from adverse childhood events, ACEs. They call them ACEs, but I don't like using that for that. But did you grow up in poverty? Did you grow up in neglect? Were your parents alcoholics? Were they drug addicts? Was one parent in jail? Was one parent absent? Was they verbally abusive, physically abusive, other abusive? Did you grow up in that? Well, the more of that you had, the more healing you need to do. Otherwise, the more wounds you're going to inflict on your own kid. You might not do the same behaviors, but you're still going to inflict the wounds. If you was abandoned, you're going to inflict abandonment on your kid. If you was neglected, you're going to inflict neglect on your kid. You're going to do it unless you heal first. And you still gonna mess up. But wouldn't you rather at least be approaching the situation with some awareness, some self-awareness? Ask yourself these questions. Were both your parents in the home? Did your parents have arguments? Did things get volatile? Were you ever unsafe? Did you feel unsafe? Could you be who you were? Could you be honest about things? Were you punished corporally? Corporal punishment. Did you grow up poor? Were one or both your parents alcoholics? Drug addicts? Ex-cons? Mental health problems? Physical health problems? Out of all the things, what was your childhood event? How long did it last? Did you get therapy for it? Have you gone to coaching? Have you journaled about it? Have you processed it? Have you done any healing work? What was the work you've done? What do you still feel like you need help on? Those are the questions. That's what it looks like. So, how do you start this journey of healing? First of all, ask yourself some questions to be honest. Really start to journal about your own feelings. If you are already a parent, how old are your kids? Have you decided the type of parent you want to be? And what are the steps that you have in place that are indicative of the type of parent that you say you want to be? I used to say I want 3 things: safety, happiness, and health. Those are the 3 things I wanted. And when I don't see my child happy, I feel like I failed. When my child isn't healthy, I feel like I failed. If my child is not safe, I feel like I failed. Because those were my goals as a parent. The way you look at health, happiness, and safety might be different. Some people might say, oh, as long as my kid is successful. Well, to me, happiness is success. Period. A lot of people don't have it. A lot of people have happiness, and somebody looks on the outside and they're like, wow, you seem super successful. I thought you had, a 9-figure job. At least 8-figure job. Nope. 7-figure job. Nope. 6-figure job. Damn, that's all? Mm-hmm. But I'm happy. I'm super happy because I get to do what makes me happy, which is to support people's growth, people's self-empowerment journeys. I get to do that every day. I get to support my own growth every day. I get to see how strong I am, how smart I am, how courageous I am every day. And I encourage you to get to that point. I encourage you to be the navigator of your own journey. Don't worry about if it's solo. Don't worry about it if it's hard. You still got to do it. Heal before you become a parent. If you're already a parent, heal right now. Start with some acknowledgement. Yes, I had some adverse childhood events. Move into some assessment. Okay, yeah, I do drink too much. I don't take care of my physical health. And yeah, I really don't engage with my kids that much. Oh, shoot, this may be affecting them more than I think. Yeah, I have some habits I could probably alter. I do have health insurance that let me check out and see if we have an EAP program. Maybe I can get some therapy, some counseling, some support for me and my family. That's a way to get started. Another way to get started is I might not be working right now. I might not have a job, but let me download this app and reach out to Radical Change Leadership and see what kind of self-paced tools or support I can get here. RadicalChangeLeadership.org is the place to go for that. The idea is to put some energy in motion to support your own wellness, your own well-being, your growth, your healing. You have to do that as a parent. Your child did not ask to come here. You didn't ask to come here neither. But if you had adverse childhood events, that means your parents didn't plan to give you a happy, healthy, and safe childhood either. Right? They did the best they could. Depends on the time you were born, the circumstances, how much money you had, the color of your skin, the texture of your hair, the shape of your nose, the size of your bank account, the wealth of the nation in which you were born, the color of the healthcare team that took care of you, the color of your mother, the color of your father. All of that stuff has an impact on how your life starts out. And you have an impact on how it ends up, because you get to put in your mind and your actions the things that you want to see with your life. And what I want to do today is encourage you to make healing your first job, especially if you're a parent. Also, if you're a kid, especially if you're a teacher, anybody that's around young people, focus on your healing and focus on being the best version you can. That means focusing on your own health, your own relationships, and your own evolution. Thanks so much for hanging out. Go to Radical Change Leadership to learn more. Like, subscribe, and share. I'll see you soon.